Hey, good evening, and this is a special live recording of Being a Mitch, in which I go over the second stimulus check questions about UI, PUA, and FPUC. For the first time ever, this channel changes up a little bit today with Being a Mitch going live in this recording, and then right after this recording, another live recording, live EIDL, a new special report in which I answer your questions about EIDL. That's coming up right after this recording at approximately 4:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, about 30 minutes from now. But in this recording, I'm answering your questions about PUA, UI, and FPUC. Questions like, how about the proposal for the CR? How would the PUA work? Would it be retroactive? How would the FPUC work? How would the UI work? And what about escalated UI? How does that work as well? I'm here to answer all your questions, so start dropping the questions on the screen, and I will start answering them as we go along. If you have questions about UI, PUA, or FPUC, I will answer them as we get underway. The big question that viewers are asking is, how does the FPUC work under the proposal of the moderates for the CR? Their proposal is $300 a week, but potentially not retroactive. So it may only be FPUC $300 a week from the date at which it's signed to the end of January, which could be about 8 weeks of $300 a week for about, 8 times $300, about $2,400 between now and the end of January. But we don't know exactly how they're going to structure the FPUC. If it's going to go from now to the end of January, if it's going to have any retroactiveness in it. It's likely to have no retroactiveness in it, in my opinion, but it's likely to go from now forward. Joe Biden last night said that he's going to give you the FPUC retroactive in January. And he said he told his Democratic colleagues, don't get hung up on the retroactiveness of FPUC right now. He says he's going to take care of your retroactive FPUC at $600 a week starting in January. The question is, how far back? July from now is 20 weeks. If we're looking at January, it could be upwards of 24 weeks of retroactiveness. 24 weeks of retroactiveness at $600 a week is a lot of money. Ultimately, the Democrats and the Republicans have never said retroactive July. They've generally said September retroactively. But what's important to understand is what we're facing at the moment. Will everyone get under pandemic unemployment assistance? Is there any stipulation about that? So that's a really great question. There's two types of people who are on PUA. There are people who originally went on to PUA because they qualified as independent contractors. And then there are people who were running out of UI weeks and they were put onto PUA by their state. And so there's two types of PUA people. Generally, wherever you are now is where you'd likely stay. It's not quite clear why states switch you to PUA, because now they're going to have a lot of confusion. But the proposals of the moderates extends both UI and PUA. What are we getting now? I'm on, that's not a PUA question. What's important to understand is that the UI weeks and the PUA weeks would not lapse. So that's really good. The reason why I did this recording was because on holidays at Lalate, I got some incredibly great questions about UI and PUA. It would be nice to have PUA and for 300 weeks a week for $300 a week for 17 weeks. Yes, that would really be good. The questions I got earlier today about UI and PUA were the following. I was on UI and PUA as now expired. What's going to happen? Am I going to get additional weeks? So do we have to reapply and when it expires? So that's Kristen's question, exactly one of the great questions. No. What you would have to do is make sure you sign into your portal where you certify for benefits every week and look at it and see when those weeks now become available. Let me give you an example. Let's say you ran out of weeks on the first week of December. And so then if this passes, the states would go back in and reactivate your account and show that you can certify for the first week of December, the second week of December, and the third week of December. You may not see those current weeks now, and that's how you would be able to get in there. restart your FPUC show. Uh, the next question to understand is that you wouldn't have to do anything for any of these items. All you have to do is certify for benefits. So I got that question as well. I got to that question when this channel started on April 25th. Do I have to certify for FPUC? No. All you have to certify is for your UI, the PUA. If you're just joining me, this is a special live broadcast of Being a Mitch in which I'm answering your questions about UI, PUA, and FPUC in light of the potential deal to be struck for the CR that includes stimulus. Do you think it'll be $300 a month or $400 a month? I think that the emergency bill that will be passed potentially in the next 24 to 48 hours will be $300 for FPUC. No one is proposing $400. $300 for FPUC, says Amy. Some great humor in here tonight. So it's important to understand is that when you're looking at the retroactiveness of it, you don't have to worry about that. They will take care of it. Christian has a question about EIDL. If you're just joining me right now, in 30 minutes from now at approximately 4:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I will be going live with EIDL Live. That will be right after this recording, and I'll be answering your EIDL questions on that. I just wish I was getting some of the FPUC before December. That's a really great comment. Yeah, you would. Their proposal is to give you FPUC from the date in which they approve the bill. Now, how long it takes to physically receive it is a whole different issue. Let me give you an example. So the FPUC, for example, if they approved it, if this became law 3 days from now, you could get FPUC perhaps under the bill from that day to the end of January of next year. But how long does it take to receive the money? It may take about 2 to 3 weeks to get the money of FPUC from your state. Now, in the case of UI and PUA, those states already have those funds, so they can get those out right away. So you may receive monies in different lump sums. Thank you for the hard work. Well, I appreciate that, Steve. Someone had a comment about the airlines. So are they going to extend the PUA? Yeah. So if you're just joining me, let me explain what is likely to happen based upon the same thing occurring in both proposals for the CR. First, an extension of PUA. Second, an extension of UI. What I mean by extension of UI is the extension of FPEUC. When you went on unemployment assistance as a W-2, you were given certain weeks of your state. Those weeks of your state go only a certain number of weeks. It's like, for example, 10 weeks. Then the federal government said, you know what? We're going to give you additional weeks of FPEUC. So you will give you additional weeks of UI. Now, some of the states came back and said, you know what? We need to do better. We're going to give you extra weeks. So they gave you extra weeks of UI. And then Hawaii, as Larry Maui told us a few nights ago in Purple Power Live, Hawaii said, you know what, we're going to take care of you and give you extra weeks of UI. But most states have not done that. And so in most cases, your UI weeks have run out or about to run out. DEY gave me 13 weeks. I don't know where that's supposed to be. So let me give you an example if I can actually pull it out. Oh, I do have it. So Mitch's bill was actually relatively clear. Oh, maybe I don't. Mitch's bill was actually quite clear in explaining. Oh, here we do. Okay, so this is how Mitch explained it in his proposal. He proposes a 1-month extension of PUA. The provision would extend PUA by 1 month to end on January 31st and allow a phase out involving a 2-month period after January 31st. Then for PEUC, which I'm incorrectly putting an F in that sometimes, PEUC would provide an extra 13 weeks of unemployment assistance insurance to those who have exhausted their unemployment benefits. The provision would extend PEUC by 1 month to end on January 31st and allow a phase out involving a 2-month period. So there you go, 13 extra weeks for UI, but ending in January. So that's really quite good. Now, I remember that the moderates wrote the PUA provision a little bit clearer. They basically said more weeks. And there you go. Um, then what's important to understand is the FPUC item. Mike just said push for FPUC. Joe Biden has really a good point. And Joe Biden's point is FPUC is a lot of money. FPUC is a big issue of contention. And that the arguments about FPUC is how retroactive and how much per week. And he says, we don't have time to negotiate that now. I will deal with that in January, and I will give you $600 a week, and I'll give you retroactive. For now, I just want you to have an extra sum of money for now. And ironically, Biden's proposal came in exactly what Mitch has always wanted, which was $300 a week. There's a reason why the moderates came in with Mitch's numbers, because they knew that Mitch would agree to $300 a week, which has always been his number. In fact, it was the president's number. The president's LWA was $300 a week. So any more questions you have about UI, PUA, or FPUC in light of what's happening in the last 24 hours? So will we get a check before January? Yes. Well, if we're talking about UI and PUA and FPUC, yes. You would get these benefits. You would definitely get these benefits in December. The UI and the PUA you would. The FPUC may take a little bit longer time to get from the federal government to the state. And then the screen goes blank. And then there's no comments. When in December would it start? Well, it would start from the date at which it became a law. So you would count those days. Vincent Paul's sort of negative remark about stimulus checks, I've answered about stimulus checks in no less than 5 recordings before this, and started this recording by saying this video is about unemployment assistance. The video after this is about EIDL. If you have a question about stimulus checks, you can watch the the 2 videos right before this, and Holidays Lalate and Mornings Lalate, which I've answered that question already. FPUC, got it, says Eric. Hello, Lalate, says Kasuna. So do you think it'll be law or the CR? Sorry, just got here. Yeah, I think that it's going to happen. I really do think that the CR that you're seeing is going to come to fruition. The deal points are being held really close to hand. So you're not seeing a lot of clarity about what the deal points are. If you're just joining us, this is a special live recording of Being a Mitch in which I'm going over PUA, UI, and FPUC. You know, on April 25th, when I launched this channel, I covered how to apply for PUA. And since that day, I've literally done an unemployment video every single day to the present. There's nothing more disrespectful, though, that I'll say, is a person who says that they don't want unemployment assistance people's questions to be answered and that they only want to talk about their issue. When I did UI and PUA and FPUC on Holidays Lalate, and I was asking questions of viewers, no less than 70 to 80% of the viewers in the chat indicated that they were on some type of unemployment assistance. And so it's important to understand that as a community, you're either a community or you're one by yourself. And the people that want to sit back and say, I don't want to hear anything but things that concern me, that's not respectful to the people who need assistance. And some people need escalated benefits. So, there was a question about escalated benefits. How does Biden think he's going to get $600 retroactive? So that's a great question, John Singer. I don't know. Joe Biden believes he can get $600 a week retroactive before a Republican Senate. I don't know what magic he thinks he can do for that. I agree 100% with you. Anyone in Texas getting escalated benefits. So how do I do it? So escalated benefits is the same way in every state. You do it the same way I do in the recordings. The important thing is how to send the message, either electronically or by uploading it in the website. If I get a job and I've been on UI, can I get retroactive escalated benefits? That's a great question. Yes. So if you were unemployed in the past, in previous weeks, but are now employed, you can do escalated benefits for the weeks that you were unemployed. Uh, Miss Ashley. So you can get escalated benefits if you made about 18,000 or more per year in your 2019. Escalated benefits is in every state. Someone just asked about Nevada. Escalated benefits is in every state. And as I say in the recordings, do not refer to it as escalated benefits when you're sending your letter because they won't know what you're referring to. I call it escalated benefits. All your letter should say is, do I qualify for additional weekly benefits? One of the most important things we talk about on this channel is when you're writing letters or calling people on the phone, don't use complicated words. Don't use words like grant or escalated or enhance because they don't mean the same thing to the same persons. And so what's important to understand is that if you call someone up on the phone in Nevada and say, I want to talk to you about escalated benefits. What's escalated benefits? I don't know what is that word? I've never heard of that word. Escalated benefits. And then you sort of have problems with the conversation. Make it very simple and easy words. LLA, tomorrow, FPUC board meeting. There's no board meeting. Is there any grants for rent in Louisiana? So if you have questions about CARES Act 1 things, join me on Purple Power Live at 6:30. So if I made about 80,000, can I get escalated? Was that 8,000 or 80,000? If it's 80,000, you can get escalated benefits. You made 8,000, no. Will PUA after January ask for tax refund returns? I don't know that question. Enrique, 8,000. No. If you made 8,000, no. It's 18,000 or more is generally when it's beneficial. Do you think a new package would be retroactive back to August? It should, but the Republicans and the Democrats twice before have done it to September, so they've lost at least 1 month. Does Minnesota do enhance extended unemployment benefits? Oh, so that's a great question. How do you look up if your state has extended weeks of benefits, extra weeks of benefits? You basically have to Google it. It's very unclear. I did not know about Hawaii until Larry Maui, who's in the room, told us a few nights ago. You just don't know if your state has extra weeks of benefits. It'll be on their website. Someone says, yes, Minnesota, MN does have extra weeks of benefits. Let's meet at the casino for coffee. Any other questions about, does unemployment income count for escalated benefits? No, it's looking at your 2019 income. Is extended, now there's too many questions, I'm going too fast. Make sure you're able to take a photo of your tax return. Absolutely. How about a line of credit? Line of credit does not count towards your income in 2019. Kansas had extra weeks, but then they've now decided to end them next week. So there you go. This is why this CR would help you. There's extra weeks of PUA and UA. So finally, if you're just joining me tonight, is unemployment retro and when does it start? So yes, if you're just joining me at the end of this video, let me recap what we know as of tonight. UI, as of FPEUC, and PUA are expiring in December. The proposals from both sides that look like they're going to get approved in the CR will give you additional weeks of UI and additional weeks of PUA into January at least. We know that's going to happen. It looks likely that you'll also get FPUC from the date at which it becomes law forward, not retroactive, for $300 a week for about 4 to 5 or 6 weeks. Then Joe Biden last night said he's going to take care of your retroactive FPUC at $600 a week back to time and bring it up to the present. Needless to say, that is a complicated accounting question, because if you do get some FPUC now, then how is Joe Biden's retroactive going to go on top of something when you already got some FPUC at $300? How are you going to get $600 on top of it? I know it doesn't make logical sense. It doesn't make sense to me either. And then, as one viewer said, how is Joe Biden going to pass $600 a week before a Republican Senate if they hold at least one seat in the January 5th election in Georgia? Really confusing. Meantime, thank you for joining me for the special unemployment Q&A on PUA, UI, and FPUC. And join me in no less than 5 minutes right after this for another live recording answering your EIDL questions on a special recording of EIDL Live. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and save LA for more.